You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
It's time for the DragonCon Report, your go-to show for both newbies and seasoned pros gearing up for the annual Downtown Atlanta Convention, with interviews, expert advice, and all the latest updates straight from the dragon's mouth and fans themselves. Stay tuned, you might just uncover something unexpected.
Howdy, and welcome to the third episode of the 2025 DragonCon Report. We are now well past the halfway point to DragonCon 2025. I'm your host, Mike Gordon, and I'm pleased to introduce you to the rest of our station crew. Jen is here, working her magic on both sides of the microphone.
Yeah, that weirded me out. The countdown music changed, and I had nothing to do with it. And I was like, "What is it? Oh, wrong button!" But no, that was
what is that? Yeah,
that was the right button.
It's an adventure.
Yeah,
Channing is with us as well.
I
Good to see
believe
you
the
both back.
children are our future.
hey, don't get us demonetized.
Wow.
Not that we're monetized anyway, but
Yeah, don't get us sued. That's the important thing. Don't get us sued.
we get enough strikes on this channel, sir.
All
Right.
three of us are fresh off of out-of-state trips. We've been tripping, if you will, over the past. Refreshed from our vacations, are we? No.
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, I went to Vegas and I came back with money, so that's a successful trip.
I still say you did it wrong.
And I went to Chicago and felt like I fit right in. So we're gonna go back once a year. It's been decided.
Nice.
So
yeah, I
it
went
was
to
our kind of town.
And Indy was really fun too. I hadn't been there in a while, and there's a lot of really cool geeky stuff to do around Indy. So
Nice.
So I definitely encourage people to check out the Midwest because it's a fun place to be. And a lot of those places aren't. I mean, I was kind of close to Chicago, but not really. So
It snowed my first full day there. I was like a 5-year-old.
Wow.
Running around like it's snowing and filming it.
I saw hail. So briefly I saw hail, but for the most part the weather was good, and I had a great time. So we are all refreshed.
Yes.
And freshly we're here for you guys for this third episode. Our main topic is going to be DragonCon for Kids. We're very excited to have with us Jonathan from the Kids Track, and author James Palmer is joining us to tell us all about the family experience at the con. So, but before we get started with that, we have some items. First of all, let's get through some business. That the DragonCon Report is an unofficial podcast of the con. We are not and never have been officially connected with DragonCon. For all the official news, we strongly recommend checking out the official sites and social media outlets. We are a proud member of the ESO Network. On esonetwork.com page, there's a direct link to our TeePublic store filled with all kinds of cool swag. Very cool design for the DragonCon Report podcast logo. You can see it in the corner of the screen there. You can get that available on t-shirts and tote bags and all sorts of fun stuff. The ESO Network also has a Patreon page where supporters can access our exclusive reading of this month's DragonCon guest announcements to see how many we get right. Please, if you're keeping score at home, especially with drinks, be very careful. Thank you, patrons, for all your support. We really do appreciate it. And in addition to this video stream, which you're watching either on YouTube or on Facebook, the audio version of our show is still available via all the usual outlets. You can also access all of our episodes, including all the ones from past seasons, at dragonconreport.com. However you access our show, please like, subscribe, share. We do appreciate any support you guys can give us. And we want to hear from you. Direct feedback or comment on the show, please feel free to email us at feedback@dragonconreport.com or reach out to any of us via social media, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, whatever you are using these days, because I know there's a lot of stuff out there.
And shout out to Drunken Dragon in the comments. Right
cool.
at the
Absolutely.
beginning.
Oh, yes. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Well, you got a couple of things there regarding that, I think.
Yeah.
So news and notes. Actually, as we all know, Dragon Con is going to happen between August 28th and September 1st, which is Labor Day weekend. 5-day membership price. The rate went up just slightly. It's to $160 now. The price went up on the 14th of March. And the next rate increase is scheduled for June 13th. So if you like we always say, get the earlier you get them, the cheaper they are. And I still think I still say it's a bargain at 160. I'll say it's a bargain. But yeah, you don't want to pay any more than you have to.
And
It's not getting any cheaper.
But don't feel bad if you kept forgetting, because I just now got my husband's 2 days ago. At the 160 price.
Hey, like I said, still a bargain.
Still a deal. Yeah.
Absolutely. Applications are now open for guests, for attending pros, vendors, art show, media, performers. If you want to participate in the show in that kind of capacity, feel free to fill out an application before it's too late. Now, speaking of too late, applications for the parade are closed. The parade is full. I think there's a huge wait list. So if you wanted to get in on the parade officially, the applications are closed, but I think still some groups are looking for participants.
Yes.
But you'll have to look at the Facebook groups and all that social media to find out which ones are doing that.
And some of them, some of the groups were even posting on the Dragon Con Reddit.
That is correct.
Yes, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Marriott Carpet Band is still looking for people, so
yes, they are.
Get your kazoo and join.
They also said people who can wave flags and ribbons and stuff. So.
Oh, I thought you just meant wave. I can do that.
No, you have to hold something in your hand.
And there's walking involved, James.
Yeah.
There's a lot of walking involved.
So I got to walk and wave. Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
If you could do that at the same time.
All right, and then this past weekend was the first official volunteer meeting for 2025, as well as halfway meetup. I know a few of you out there got to make it to that. I'm jealous. One year I'm going to make it to that. But some of the highlights from the volunteer meeting last year, attendance was right around 75,000. They are happy with that amount. They are not planning to increase it, and think last year was a bit too much. So, as we say every year, this might be the year where they start capping those badges at lower numbers, especially the daytime day passes, single day passes. But we might be getting closer to having the 5-day passes be capped as well, which is why it's always good to get your passes as soon as possible. Right. They do anticipate selling out of all type of memberships prior to the show, and Rachel did mention that the 5-day passes are selling a lot faster at this point this year than they have before. They also announced that there is an effort being put in to diversify and add more to the existing nighttime activities, but they didn't expound upon that, so we don't really know what, but hey, new nighttime stuff is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they had introduced the vendor hall pass for volunteers, and it went off really well with everybody. So they have decided to make it available again this year to volunteers. And that is only for the volunteers who've completed 5 years of service. Yeah, that's an extra perk you get.
Right.
But it will not be applicable on Saturday, because, of course, Saturday is the busiest day in the vendor hall. We don't want even more people in there. No. The charity for 2025 is NAMI, the National Association of Mental Illness. And last year, they did match charity donations fully for the second year in a row. $300,000 was given to the Arthritis Foundation. So hopefully we are able to repeat that for a third year in a row and do it for NAMI. There's also an opportunity to volunteer coming up on April 27th, benefiting the Cure Childhood Cancer. Somebody erased what the RE stands for. But watch the Dragon Con socials. They will be posting about that, and they do have group events for locals or people who are going to be in Atlanta at the time to help join in and do some volunteer service with your fellow nerds. The next volunteer meeting is going to be on July 20th at the Hilton Atlanta at 4 p.m.
Yes.
It was
And
also announced. What?
Go ahead. I thought I was doing the awards.
Yes, but there's one more part that I have to say. It was announced that Stephen Grenard, who was the director of the science track, is stepping down. So there's going to have somebody else stepping in there. And Charles McFall, who is with the digital media track, is going to be helping be a track coordinator for the reality track.
Yes.
Very nice. No, Charles, nice guy. He'll handle it well.
Absolutely.
So as you can see, I was very excited to talk about the Dragon Awards. We're also going to have to go because apparently the order changed on the lineup sheet that I'm getting too. The Dragon Awards are by the fans, they're for the fans, and they're your chance to reward those who've made real contribution to science fiction, books, games, comics, and shows. Every fan, writer, publisher, and editor anywhere is welcome and encouraged to nominate and vote for the Dragon Award. I think we will be putting a note up there. Yeah, find some content that you like, nominate them, and let's show them some love.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Sven a little while ago. He put out a newsletter or announcement that said that Drunken Dragon Horde memberships, the 2025 edition, are live.
I got mine.
Of course you do.
Second year in a row.
This exclusive membership grants you access to the Dragon's Horde for the current year. Your membership helps keep the Drunken Dragon Hotel running strong, and in return, you get White Club VIP treatment. Can't join? No worries. Nothing changes for you. You still get top quality swag and free shipping in 2025. But yes, in order to secure that things are going to happen with the Drunken Dragon Hotel and all of that cool stuff, and to get even more cool stuff from Sven, check out the Horde membership.
Yeah. And auditions for this year's Subspace Rhapsody Picture Show are going to open on March 31st. That's just in a few days. And they will close on April 30th. Presented by the DragonCon Trek Track and cast directed by Sarah Rose of the DragonCon Theater and Performing Arts Lovers unofficial Facebook group. This will mark the second year of the Shadowcast adaptation of Star Trek Strange New Worlds musical episode Subspace Rhapsody. This unique production blends the interactive energy of a traditional showcast with the theatrical flair of a classic musical. For more information, reach out to Sarah Rose via Facebook, or you can go check out the DragonCon Theater and Performing Arts Lovers unofficial Facebook group.
Absolutely. I'm glad to see that they're doing that again. It was a big hit.
They had to remove people from the room.
So, standing room only.
Yeah, no, there was no standing room. That's what I mean.
Oh. There was no standing room.
I didn't mean they kicked people out because they were being rowdy. I meant it got so crowded. It was making people nervous with people standing.
Yeah, you know those theater kids, they do get rowdy.
Absolutely. So,
I gotta say, I hope they become a real track just so we can shorten the name. That is my main reason now for wanting them to
we
become
can do
an
the
official
same
track.
thing that we do for the parties group. We just call it the DCPMM or whatever it is now. Just give them the acronym.
Yes.
So there are no really big, huge celebrity guest announcements yet at this point, but I think we're on the verge of those. But there have been some other announcements of guests and attending pros. And of course, you can find all of those available from all three of us in some capacity. We will be trying to tell you who they are as best we can, to the best of our abilities. If you sign up for the patron and have exclusive rights to that reading of all the guests.
And it's not just us butchering names, folks. You can get access to special episodes from all kinds of shows on the ESO network there, like the Flopcast, and you can get episodes early.
Yep, we get
Yes.
episodes early.
I believe Bat Chums is about to have something on the Patreon as
Bat
well.
Chums, we've been
Mhm.
recording some stuff, so yeah, there
Yeah.
will always be some bonus content available from Bat Chums as well. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting it up there. But yes, you can get exclusive, all things exclusive at esonetwork.com, and we appreciate it. Or the Patreon, sorry.
And
So
I'm in discussion with ESO Network to let me release a few lewds to the Patreon subscribers. So, keep your fingers crossed. If you really want value for your money, it might be
Okay.
coming. That's
Hey,
all I'm saying.
maybe the Mongoose might have a Patreon exclusive.
I mean,
The mongoose oiling up. That'll be his Patreon video. It'll just be the mongoose applying baby oil
Somebody's
as he
gonna
gets
pay
ready
for.
for his
Okay, you better
matches.
watch it. Somebody's gonna pay for that. So
Yeah,
now
you're probably right.
yeah, now you said it. So now you have to put it out into the world for real.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's not.
while we're all savoring that image in our head, why don't we take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about stuff that's safe for kids at DragonCon.
Yeah.
That's
Not the
kid
mongoose.
friendly, which I don't think the mongoose is. So and we are back. And we're going to talk all about kids. There was a time when DragonCon, maybe not so kid friendly, but over the last few years, they've taken great strides to have a lot of different programming and a lot of different things for kids. And with us, we've got Jonathan, who's part of the kids track, joining us. Hey, Jonathan,
Hello.
Thank you so much. Also, we've got writer James Palmer, who has some experience with DragonCon and kids. So he is with us
Hello.
as well.
I just want to point out real quick to Jonathan, the mongoose is a wrestler. It wasn't slang. So we really weren't jumping into, adult
I
only
totally
content.
believe you. Definitely do not have any further suspicions. Sounds real.
Yeah.
Please do not report the mongoose to any authorities. I promise you. It's all legit.
Lips are sealed.
Jonathan, let's start with you. What is your history with DragonCon? What was your first DragonCon experience?
Yeah, actually, my first DragonCon experience was many, many moons ago. My wife and I popped down there because we wanted to go see Nathan Fillion, and it was back when things were small enough that going and seeing him in Jewel State in the Walk of Fame was like a half an hour affair instead of a 4-hour affair.
Wow.
We came back a few years later. I'm a fan of a lot of stuff, but I don't maybe geek out the same way as a lot of other folks. And so I got a little lost in the shuffle in that year. So I decided to volunteer the next year and went and volunteered with Kids Track because kids are cooler than adults for the most part. And was with them for a while, became a attending pro for a few years. And then when the previous director of Kids Track, Jill, decided to step down and move on to some other things, they asked if I would come on and take over directing. And so the first year that was supposed to happen was 2020. So my first year being the director was a little unusual, a little exciting and strange. But then 2021, which was also an unusual year, was my first in-person year directing. And we've been moving and grooving ever since.
Now, how long has the Kids Track been around? Do you know the history behind it? Because like I said, I can remember there were times that, back in the early days, it did seem like DragonCon was not really built for kids, for families, a family experience. And that changed over the course of a lot of years. But then there seemed to be, a definite push to have more family programming.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I don't actually remember what year the programming started. That was actually before I was involved with the track. It was called Kaleidoscope back in the day.
I do remember that.
Well, that is a beautiful name. It turns out it did not communicate the purpose of the track particularly well. We had a lot of people confused about what it was. And when I first started volunteering, it was actually with Kaleidoscope, and the transition to Kids Track happened when I was volunteering with Jill as director. So we've been around for at least, I think it's been about 10 years. I'm sure somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but as Kids Track, I believe that transition was made in either 2018 or 2019. Yeah, so the push to add more kid-friendly activity and to make more programming for DragonCon families started, several years ago, but definitely we kind of moved things forward a bit after the virtual year for sure.
And I wouldn't be surprised if part of that was the fact that DragonCon was getting old enough that people who were coming had started going all those many moons ago, all of a sudden found themselves with families and with kids, and now they wanted to keep coming to DragonCon, but they wanted something for their children as well.
Yeah.
My my motto or my catchphrase, especially when I'm trying to shill for volunteers, is DragonCon parties make DragonCon families.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Absolutely.
Exactly,
James, I kind of want to tilt to you for a minute. I know that you've been on the show before. You've told us, I think, about your first introduction to DragonCon, but when did you start sort of making it part of a family outing?
Well, when we had our daughter, I mean, she was her first convention is DragonCon. We were bringing her in a stroller, which I do not recommend. Strollers and Marriott escalators do not mix. 1 star, would not recommend. But we were always the kind of parents that if our daughter couldn't go with us, we didn't want to go do it. And that was for, just regular, go to a movie, go to a concert, stuff like that. We, if we couldn't take her, we didn't want to go. And we definitely wanted to keep going to DragonCon. So we would, bring her with us from a young age. She is a con kid. She has been raised in the con scene.
With all that entails.
Yes, good and bad. And she's 16 now, and she cosplays and she loves it. And she was even on a panel at DragonCon a couple of years ago.
Wow. So yes, she really has grown up with DragonCon.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's when you
absolutely.
know it's official.
Yeah. Well, and it spoiled her for smaller cons because I do, as you too, Mike, we do a lot of smaller conventions, and she's bored at those because she's used to DragonCon.
Now, have you found that there's been more and more things for her to do over the years? That DragonCon has been more open to having children at DragonCon at the event?
I think so. I think part of it is just as she gets older, there's more stuff she can do. But also, yeah, it's just that kind of environment as the convention has kind of aged. People started out at DragonCon before they had kids, and then they had kids and they wanted to bring them. I remember back when they had a daycare at DragonCon where you could drop your kids off. We didn't have kids. We didn't have our daughter then. But that kind of went away as people stopped using it. I guess they bring their kids with them, and it's fun to see the kids dressed up and their stuff at the kids track and the YA track and just Star Wars. My daughter does a lot of the cosplay stuff over in the Hilton. Hangs out over there with my wife. So yeah, I definitely think it's, after 9 o'clock, it gets a little iffy, but that's always been the case. But yeah, I think it has. Like I said, I don't know how much of it is the convention and how much of it is just a function of her getting older. Sure. I think it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. And Jonathan, my understanding is that the kids track is not just daycare. Don't just drop your kid off and leave them at the track, right?
No.
You have specific programming. What is sort of the goal or the aim of the kids track?
Yeah, we are explicitly not a daycare service. We did before my time. There was some drop and go stuff I think tried out, and they put them to work in the mines that ran afoul of some. I don't. I didn't have to sign the NDAs, but they canceled that for whatever reason. But yes, all kids, anybody under the age of 16 does have to be accompanied by a parent or guardian the entire time. And in terms of the kinds of programming and the sort of how Kids Track has viewed its role at Dragon Con, it kind of started as a following the same sort of track, fan track programming, a lot of panels. And as the years have gone on, we've really transitioned away from that and into activities and events. And we kind of reserve panels for, over the last couple of years, we've added later evening, like 10 p.m. panels for parents on more sensitive topics. Last year, we did a panel on raising trans kids, and we did another one on engaging with mental health services for kids. And the parents who came to that got a lot out of it. During the day, it's we've been really fortunate to connect with a lot of incredible attending pros and guests. John Armstrong, a magician who's done a lot of stuff with the Skeptic Track, he came and did a magic workshop, family workshop for us that was really well attended and folks loved. Jen Whitworth used to work for the International Space Station, and she comes and does a hands-on demo and a craft with the kids. She's done that for the past 4 years now. And that's the stuff kind of in our track rooms, the smaller rooms down in the, we're down in the basement, the dungeon. We're down on the second to last level of the Hyatt International Tower, which is a little less foot traffic, but it is good because it's nice and cool down there. And if any of the kids do try to escape, they don't have very far to go and they tend to get lost. It's a bit of a maze down there. So we usually find them before they starve or anything.
Yeah, I get lost down there too, by the way. I do.
Yeah.
So every year I hear about fort building. So tell us about the fort building.
Yeah, I will. I have to give a bit of a shout out to, so the track second is Allie, and she is tremendous. She's actually taking a year off of Dragon Con this year because she is bringing new life into the world or some such nonsense. I don't know. But
wow,
we're going to carry on without her. She is the kind of the secret to Kids Track success in a lot of ways. She's the one who really kicked off fort building. It was her idea. We tried it in our track room the first year, and as you can imagine, building forts in a small track room was interesting, and a lot of people liked it, but it didn't quite work as well. So we transitioned into a ballroom, and we've been doing it ever since. We do a family fort building contest. We actually run that 2 times on Saturdays now, where families come in, they get paired typically with other families. We usually do teams of 10, and we normally have room for between 10 and 14 teams. And they get a round table, they get some chairs, they get a bunch of cardboard, they get some string, they get some scissors, they get some tape, and a few other odds and ends, pool noodles, whatever we decide to throw in. And everybody builds a fort, and then they get judged. We have official fort building judges from the International Association who come in and handle all of our judging. They get judged on different criteria. We've changed it over the years, but it's generally best all around, best secret entrance, most defensible, stuff like that. We had a lot of adults who were looking in the door, peeking in, very jealous, and asked, hey, why can't we do one for adults? And so we started running the fort building after dark, which is an 8:30. That's open. Doesn't require kids to come in. It is not specifically only for families, although typically we get a bunch of teenagers with their parents in there as well. And that is has become a charity event. We actually give everybody same kind of basic materials, but then we sell extra materials for charity donations. So if you want to, it's pay to win, just unabashed, pay to win. So if you want an extra sheet, more cardboard, Allie is really crafty. She gives everybody safety scissors, but then a real adult scissors. Yes. Yep. And so we've managed to raise a bunch of money for charity that way, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Every year because I do a big list of events, whether it's parties or interactive things. So I do put a lot of the kids track events on it. But then, yeah, the nighttime adult fort building, every year I put it on my schedule. And one year I will make it. It's one of those things, that I have ever since you started having it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So two things. Number one, fort building after dark sounds like another event where Dragon Con children are made. But number two, have you ever thought about
Fortunately, no, that has not come up. That has not come up.
Okay. Okay. Good disclaimer. Have you ever thought you should partner with the robotics track and have some of the robots try to attack the fort? That's a good way to test their defenses.
That is an
Have little,
amazing idea.
yeah, little
We have
little
not done that yet.
siege. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. We actually did partner with alternate history and robotics for the first time last year, for the uh, teacup Demitas League. So that's like their
Yeah.
teacup kart racing, but specifically for kids. And that's not at all my brainchild. The alternate history is really running the show on that one, but Kids Track pitches in. We help with volunteers and whatever else they need to make that happen. And so it was a
Yeah.
big success last year. I think they're bringing it back this year.
Yeah. That was actually a follow-up question I had for you. How many other tracks do you work with to try and get kid-specific programming for there so you guys aren't carrying all the load?
Yeah, that's a big like outer, or I guess inter-track outreach has been a big goal over the past last year and this year especially. We've assisted with puppetry, does some really awesome workshops, and we've helped out when they've needed assistance. With the teacup racing last year, and we've been in talks with gaming diversity. We did a partnership one year with the Apocalypse Rising track to do. We had a um, uh, apocalypse readiness thing for families specifically. It was basically like a family emergency planning idea, but there was some discussion included of what to do in zombie apocalypses and other sort of fantasy stuff to make it a little bit more on theme.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
James, are there certain activities that you have participated in over the years with the family that are highlights of your Dragon Con experience over the years?
Well, there hasn't been any one thing that we do a lot. There was a few years back, on the kids track, they had an artist come and she showed them how to draw like sea monsters and different mythical creatures with like simple shapes. And my wife and I did that with our daughter, and I had a blast. I had something else scheduled, and I just happened to go over there with them and had more fun doing that than whatever I had originally planned. I don't even remember what it was now. But we had an absolute blast doing that with her. And we just like watching her just enjoy the con. She goes to panels and she asks questions, and, she geeks out about shows she likes with other kids her age. And it's just always fun to see that.
Jonathan, is there a lot of that too? I mean, you said that it's mostly activity based, but did you also have panels with or celebrities come in that are part of children's programming as well?
So we've assisted with some of the media guest panels. We did a joint Encanto panel with animation a couple of years ago when they had the Encanto voice actors there. We don't tend to bring in Kids Track is kind of odd relative to other fan tracks because we're not subject matter specific. Our goal is to provide programming for kids and families, and so really it's not about any specific genre, specific show, specific media type. But we are always willing to work with the subject matter specific tracks when they've got family friendly or kid friendly material. We had 1 year we assisted, for example, with I think video games had some of the voice actors from Five Nights at Freddy's, which regardless of how we feel about the app propriety, was incredibly popular with middle schoolers and even younger kids, and so we helped out a bit with that as well.
What
And the
what age group is your track sort of geared for? As what do you define as kids?
Yeah, so we've worked hard over the last 4 years to really expand that out. It used to be more targeted for kind of the 8 to 12 age range, and now we do a princess story time for smaller kids. We've got a little playroom and kind of a decompression time after the parade, for littler kids. We run stuff for I host a video game character showdown where kids talk through who would win in fights between different video game characters, and we do a bracket and they figure out who the champion is, and that's usually popular with the
Nice.
middle school and younger teens. We do a family game night on Sunday nights now where they do live action Hungry Hungry Hippos. Last year we did a Bluey obstacle course and a Krabby Patty relay race, and that tends to be really popular with teens and again kind of the middle school age kids. So we're trying to expand it out so we cover babies on up to parents and kind of everybody in between, and make sure that they've got programming that'll be good for them.
Do you, in addition to the programming, do you guys assist with any sort of suggestions or needs that families might have?
Or how to con with kids?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it was 2 years ago we started, and we're going to be definitely bringing it back this year because it was quite popular. Thursday night and Friday morning, we run a How to Dragon Con with Kids panel.
Nice.
And the panelists are pretty much all parents with some level of experience coming and doing the con with kids. It usually ends up becoming a real group support session where folks in the audience are calling out really awesome suggestions, and is becoming a great place also where parents have connected with their, to have some other folks who are in the same boat, maybe not quite as likely to be at the parties until 4, but maybe have some friends to hang out with the strollers at lunchtime.
Yeah.
Speaking of suggestions, we have a comment. Does any of the panelists have hotel suggestions for people with toddlers?
Or has that come up in any of your panels on Dragon Conning with kids?
Oh yeah. So first thing is if you just let them out into the hotel to run around, they'll probably be fine. You can pick them up on Monday sometime. But if you're not that brave, if you don't want to go that route,
Jen, press the disclaimer button.
The best advice. Yes, yeah. No, the best advice that I've heard come up during those panels has been pretty consistent with my experience, which is the Marriott is often the if you or your kid sensitive when it comes to sleep, that's a difficult one. That sound carries up that weird rib cage design they've got, and it floors even and all that. So we usually Westin of the host hotels, the Westin is pretty quiet. I don't have a lot of experience with the Cortland brand, but I know that folks have talked about that one as well as being a little bit quieter of a hotel. And
Yeah,
then
it is
I know that
quieter.
there are several other hotels. Yeah, there are several other hotels out that are quite close to the host hotels. I think a Loft and maybe a few others. I don't remember specifically which ones, but the big three I think are the most loud and have the most
Yeah.
foot traffic, obviously. So
James, when
Westin, if you're going to go for a host hotel, I think Westin.
yeah, James, when your daughter was attending, or when your daughter was younger, were y'all staying in any of the host hotels or the overflows, or what was your experience?
We have a little bit. I was going to say, as far as host hotels, if you can stay in the Hyatt International Tower, It's quieter in there. It's kind of blocked off from the lobby. Both times we stayed at the Hyatt, we're just automatically in the International. I don't know how we did that. So, and that either the Hyatt or the Marriott makes it easy if, you know, the kid's fussy and you want to go lay him down. You don't have to walk 3 blocks outside at night, whatever. You can just run and go upstairs. But we've primarily done that and the Westin. And we've stayed at the American last year and again this year, which is right behind the Westin. Gotcha. But and as your kids get older, it gets easier. She's always traveled pretty well. We only had to leave one panel early because she was crying as an infant. And that's another thing too. You know, make a schedule, but play everything by ear. You may not get to do those things. You may have to go do something else or nothing at all, or go back to the room if something goes pear-shaped.
And that's good advice, whether you are conning with kids or conning on your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mike. Oh, yeah.
Nope.
I was gonna say, Jonathan, we did some announcements earlier, and we heard that a lot of tracks are still looking for volunteers. Is that still the case with the kids track? Do you need people, and what do you need people to do, and how can they sign up if they want to help out?
Yeah, so absolutely, we do need volunteers. You know, the DragonCon as an organization has been really supportive of expanding kids and family programming, and so we got some additional folks on our team over the past few years. The folks who come and volunteer tend to stick around for a while. We have a lot of fun. But like I said before, my kind of second in command, who does a lot of the programming with me, she's off having a baby or some nonsense. So she and another are out. So I'm looking for 2 more right now. And the kids track volunteers, you know, like I said, we don't do a lot of panels. They tend to be later in the evening when we do them. And it's more event based. You're going to be on your feet. You're going to be interacting with kids, with families. The stuff in the track room tends to be a little quieter, but folks to help manage at the door, rooms cleaned up, which with rooms full of kids can, you know, be a little bit more intensive. Get the rooms set up. But I always do invite my volunteers to I do monthly meetings in the 8 months or so leading up to the con. And I invite all my volunteers to participate in those if they want to help design programming, if they want to pitch ideas for events and lead them, give them that opportunity. So that way, you know, they're not just there for the kind of grunt work without being able to pitch in on the idea.
That's good.
That's very nice. That's very cool.
I like that.
What sort of costuming or cosplay activities do you have going on in the kids track? Because I would imagine there's a lot of creative ways that the kids can. It must be like Halloween for them. Come early. Yeah,
we see a lot of really tremendous cosplays, and family, you know, group cosplays tend to get really creative. I don't know if we're going to have specific events this year or not. We have done a family cosplay and kid cosplay panels in the past, tips and tricks, and you know, especially for kids who are old enough to be working on their own for the first time. I think those panels were kind of good. Don't believe we're going to do that this year specifically. Obviously, there is the costume contest, the cosplay contest, kids, I believe, which is all through the, but kid track isn't specifically associated with that.
Oh, okay.
Is the character meet and greet, is that part of the kids track? Like, I know I've seen in the past, like there's been a Bluey. You've had Bluey there for a few years.
Yep.
And, yeah.
So there is a wonderful young woman named Anna who has taken over helping coordinate the character encounter, which is a kids track event. It's every year Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at the Regency 5 ballroom in the Hyatt. We've been doing it for many years now. Started before the virtual year. Last year we had, I may get this wrong, I believe it was 84 volunteer cosplayers, and these are folks, a lot of them do like the birthday parties and the princess party stuff where they are being hired out. So these are kind of professional level cosplayers. Everything from all the Marvel and DC heroes. The 501st normally sends quite a contingent of different Star Wars characters. The droid builders typically come with a variety of droids to dance around and make their noises. And we're starting to expand out. I think we maybe have some even some Percy Jackson cosplayers coming this year potentially. So we're getting into different properties, but it's a chance for families to come through and basically stop at any or all of those groups of characters that they want to take pictures with and have their kids interact with the characters. Typically runs for about an hour and a half. It is, I get told quite a bit that it's the highlight of the con for a lot of families. It's been a huge success. And so we just made it a staple. Typically Sundays, 10 a.m. is the character encounter. Later in the afternoon, usually 4 p.m., we do the family-friendly dance. That's normally in the Marriott, where we set up some music, put on some lights, get some glow sticks, and let the kids rave until they're passed out, and the parents can take them back to the room and put them down.
That's awesome. Jonathan, you kind of broke up there at the beginning when you were talking about who you were giving credit to
for Bluey
that meet and greet. So we
missed the name.
Oh, her name's Amber.
Gotcha.
She is the Bluey as well. She has done she's been at the character encounter as Bluey, and she has also done additional Bluey photo events for Kids Track the past couple of years. She's a tremendous asset to the track. She works really hard, and she does a great job of coordinating, almost 100 cosplayers to make that event happen.
To any kids who are listening, ignore what Jonathan said. That is actually Bluey that's there.
Truth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is actually Bluey. I don't know
Amber's
where
just
you got
the
the
Wrangler.
information from. Yeah, Amber's the Bluey Wrangler, yes.
You never see them in the same room.
See, make sure Bluey gets everything on his rider.
James, have you taken part in any family cosplay?
Not yet, but that is next on the list. My daughter wants to do Mabel from Gravity Falls, and she wants to meet a big Grunkle Stan. Which I'm going to do probably without the smoking jacket because it's hot.
Hey, you got to commit, man. You got to commit.
Commit right? To the bit, man.
It's just too hot. I see people in these costumes, and I just go, that looks hot.
We wear cooling devices.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, it just looks hot. Yes. But we had. That's better than the previous choice, which was she had done a Raven costume from Teen Titans a few years ago, and it just stuff we found, but it looked great. So she was going to do another version of that, and then I was going to be Raven's father, Trigon, and nobody wants to see that. So Uncle Stan is the better option. I just have to find the fez, and I'm good to go.
The things we do for our kids.
Exactly.
If I only knew someone who could help you get a fez, I'll see if I can figure, look at my Rolodex.
Yeah, ask around.
I don't know if I have a fez guy. I'll have to shake the Facebook tree for that.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have one looking at you on the screen right now.
Yeah, just wait until Mike leaves and sneak into his house. You'll have your pick.
I was like, he probably has one. He just hasn't worn it yet.
At least. Very cool. Any good stories from years past, Jonathan, of the kids track that just sort of make it sort of worth doing? Because I would imagine there's a lot of like
Yeah.
special
Oh
moments that
man.
happen
There's.
between like the kids and the families there, right?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of really wonderful stuff. I'll say, one of the things that's out past couple of years we've done a not like late night, but evening campfire story contest, kind of in the spirit of "Are you afraid of the dark?" That's obviously that's for the parents, not for the kids, but everybody's invited. Kids did that last year. We did, the spooky story contest, and there was a little girl who couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 who came up with her mom. She was really excited to do the story, but then she got up there and she saw, the crowd of people. The room was full, and just got too scared, too overwhelmed, and so she went back to her seat with her mom, and that all was good. And then at the very end, the little girl decided she wanted to try again. She came up back to the front of the room, and she told her spooky story by whispering it into her mother's ear while she sat on her mom's lap, and her mother relayed the story. And I will tell you
Oh,
that one, it was adorable, but two, having a child whisper a spooky story into someone's ear to relay is actually kind of spooky.
Pretty spooky, yeah.
yeah.
So it worked. It worked. But yeah, that was really wonderful. And the mental health for kids specifically, it was for the panel was one of the parenting panels, the late night ones. But we had a team of 6, I think, mental health professionals who all work with kids and teens, come and give their perspective and their advice. And there were a lot of parents who were struggling or trying to grapple with the stuff that has been going on and trying to help their children. I got a lot of very positive feedback from the parents that was very
Yeah.
meaningful for them.
Yeah.
That
I
sounds
mean,
great.
look, parenting's hard enough without a con, so I'm sure they appreciate having um, a support system or just some people that can say, "Hey, I understand," because I can only
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I married into a pre-made family and the kid was a teenager, so I missed a lot of those younger years. But I can only imagine how stressful it can be sometimes.
I mean, teenage years ain't a picnic.
Valid point.
Yeah. But it's good that there is that service that it's providing, that you guys are providing, and I'm glad to see. I'm glad. I've been going to Dragon Con since 1994, as many people here know. And yeah, it did used to be, a lot more adult oriented, but I think it's just opened up a whole new level to what Dragon Con can be
Yeah.
for children. The fact that back in the early days, I probably wouldn't have been allowed to go to Dragon Con. And now it's encouraged, that the
Yeah.
whole family can enjoy it. So I think that's a great experience.
Yeah.
Sort of like, you see all
Yeah,
these sort of
and
custom cruises or custom vacations for families. I think Dragon Con, is right there with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you want to keep the
the
con going, and
reality is
that's
that
how you keep it going. Sorry.
that's it right there. Is you have to have the next generation of people who are invested in a con, um, if you want it to go past this current group of folks who are into it.
Yeah, I have friends who've brought their kids since they were a year old, and now those kids are running around as of legal age, able to
Yeah.
go to the adult events now. So and
Uh, let
the kids are
let me tell
just
you,
as obsessed.
there is
There's what?
nothing to make you feel old quite like. There's nothing that makes you feel old quite like seeing the same kids come back year after year. Because I have seen some children coming to Dragon Con Kids programming now who were little and could barely talk, and now they are pretty much teenagers. Um, and so,
Wait till they start showing up with booze, then
yeah,
you'll
it's
feel old.
good. But
Start showing up with kids.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if we're,
that. Believe me,
I was gonna say, I don't know if we're there yet. We're probably getting close to there, though, right?
Yeah.
Have you, I'm sure none of them would admit to it. Have you ever considered having an event to honor dragon babies?
You
Okay,
know,
Goose.
that's actually a good idea. That's actually a
Yeah,
good idea.
yeah. Just saying. Throwing it
Especially
out there.
since I think we're gonna have our first kids track baby. I mean, Allie's due like right the week before the con, so
Oh,
we're
wow.
gonna have our first kids track baby. So it seems like we need to make
Yeah.
something happen for that.
See? Yeah.
Dragon
Could,
Con
could be
kids having
interesting.
kids.
There you go.
Yeah, when you recognize someone and then realize I used to party with your parents.
Yep. Yep. That's when it's time to go back to your room. Just like, nope, I'm done for the night. I'm done.
Just
When your
get to
knees start
walking.
hurting.
Right.
Well, as we're winding down this month's show, James or Jonathan, is there anything you'd like to let the viewers and listeners out there know, whether it's about conning with kids or about your personal experience or anything like that?
I would say, definitely do it. Like Jonathan said, we have to get the next generation of fandom going, of con-goers going, and just go and have fun. It's fun watching them have fun.
Jonathan, anything you want to add?
Yeah. So I'm very thankful that there's been so much support from the community and from the organization. So work on more kids programming, and we have so many volunteers and other people out the track over the past few years. So just a big shout out to everybody who's pitched in and made the track really successful.
Where'd it go? All right. Well, for those of you watching, I'm putting the Facebook group link to the Dragon Con Kids Track. That is your only online spot, right? The Facebook group, or do you y'all
We
have
had
Discord as well, or
we had some we don't have a public Discord. We were on the social media shall not be named. Right now, we're just running on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
So if anybody has any follow-up questions, they can reach out to you. Thanks so much for joining us. This has been illuminating. It's one of those things, just sort of like gaming last month, where I'm like, I don't have kids. I have no idea.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. This has been good.
There's so much to Dragon Con that happens
Thank
that
you guys
I'm
so
not
much
aware of.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have kids either, but I'm a kid at heart. So every year when I'm doing the event list and see all the events, I am jealous
Right.
because
Well,
there's a
I-
lot of
Fort building.
events at the
I think-
kids track that look great.
I think the Dragon Con report crew needs to get together and build a fort.
That's what
I was just about to say it.
I didn't know about it. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And I am not above playing to win. Remember, I saved money at Vegas. I will pay to win. Give me the loot boxes.
He's got the Vegas money, baby.
Yes, indeed.
Sounds
Give me
good.
the high
Just get
quality
there early. That
cardboard.
one's popular.
I bet. Awesome. All right, so we're drawing a close to this episode of the 2025 Dragon Con Report. Thanks, Jonathan and James. James, where can people find out about all your writings and other stuff that you're involved with?
They can find me at jamespalmerbooks.net. They can find me on Facebook, Blue Sky, Substack. They can find me at patreon.com/James Palmer. I'm running a serial right now called Arkham Season 1. It's if H.P. Lovecraft wrote for the CW network. You can find that on Royal Road and on my Patreon.
Nice. Awesome. And Jonathan, thanks so much. We've got the Facebook group for you, and good luck this year with the con, and we hope to see you there.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Big shout out to our station crew, of course. Thank you, Channing.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a blast. Anybody who wants to find me, I'm at Channing Sherman on the socials that matter. Just moved over to Blue Sky recently, so look for my musings there.
Absolutely. And so much. I saw some of your pictures from Vegas. So much for keeping it staying in Vegas, but that's okay.
Yeah, when you're there with your wife's job, there's not really much you can keep secret. There's not really a whole lot of trouble you can get into.
Well,
But I'm happy to say we saw Will Smith perform, and I didn't get slapped, so that's victory.
that is a victory. And you could pretend you're Channing by the pool if you look at his pictures. So he's got the poolside view.
Yes.
And Jen, of course, thank you for working your magic on both sides of the webcam.
Of course, always pleasure to actually be able to make the live show. If folks going to find me, I am also on Blue Sky. I'm a little bit odd both there and on Instagram. You can also find me in the DragonCon parties, meetups, and more group.
Absolutely. We try to cover all we can with these shows, but to keep up with the latest news, please check out the official DragonCon websites, all their social media outlets. All the fan tracks are active on Facebook and at various other social media outlets as well. We're a proud member of the ESO Network. On the ESO Network page, there's a direct link to our TeePublic store filled with all kinds of cool swag. The ESO Network also has a Patreon page where again, you can listen to an exclusive reading, or shall I say butchering, of this month's DragonCon guests announcements. Thank you, patrons, for all your support. We really do appreciate you. Whether you're watching, listening to us, please help support our show with a like, subscribe, share. If you would like to leave us direct feedback, please comment, send it to us at feedback@dragonconreport.com. You can reach out to us individually or as a group on Facebook and Instagram. And I think there's some other that we're part of too. I don't know if we're officially on Blue Sky yet, but I know I am personally. But anyway, thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Mike Gordon. And as always, it's been my pleasure. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you at the con.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the DragonCon Report. Whether you're a longtime fan or joined us for the first time, we hope you've gained some valuable insights and tips to make your DragonCon experience unforgettable. Don't forget to stay connected for more updates and future episodes. Until next time, keep learning, keep planning, and keep the con spirit alive.
You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.